Hi, I'm Kamal Imani, and welcome to The Connection, Neat USA and Bless the Mic show. We're glad to have you. We're glad that you came back. Today we have some serious brothers that we want you to see. They're doing big things in the music world, in the film world, entertainment world, as well as giving back to the community. And they are Jonathan Cisco and Jamal Hall. How y'all doing?
Great.
Doing great. Thank you.
We're glad to be
for
here.
having us.
And we're glad to have you. So you got something real big happening that New Jersey really needs, a premiere, and it's happening in Patterson, the renovation of the downtown area in the new movie theater. So what is going on that's going to really bring like Patterson up to the next level in terms of entertainment that you guys are doing?
Right. I wrote and directed a movie called UMI. It's about grandmothers being mothers again. And we're going to premiere it right in Patterson next week, June 2nd.
All right.
So if everybody could come out, they could come out. But Patterson hasn't had a premiere since Lean On Me in 1989.
Wow.
So this is the next biggest thing to that.
Yes, definitely. So where exactly in Patterson is it going to be?
The Fabian 8 movie theater at Center City Mall.
All right, that's that brand new theater.
Yes.
I got to check that out myself.
Yes.
All right, so UMI, what does UMI mean and what is this all about?
In Arabic and also in Swahili, they say that it means mother.
All right.
So basically what I did was, I work in the educational field, and every time I call home or talk to a parent, I end up being a grandparent, but mostly grandmothers.
Right.
And their story is usually taken for granted. Oh, grandma's gonna take care of the kids, she's gonna cook dinner, she's gonna feed, she's gonna drive us here, take us there. Or we need some money, grandma, but we don't really see her side of the story and see what she actually has to do to struggle through that.
Right.
So I made a film about her struggle and seeing it from her point of view.
Right.
What she has to go through and what she has to deal with, real life situations.
Right. So this ain't like Big Mama.
Nah.
She is Big Mama in our community, but it ain't Big Mama. This ain't really all about jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very serious thing because a lot of times in urban films, especially as a black filmmaker, that we have to be funny or entertainment to make it big,
right,
so to say.
Right.
So I'm trying to go the route where it's reality, spirituality, and we're just trying to tell a good story.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this about the grandmother that's 36 years old now, or is this about the grandmother that's a little older than that?
In between.
Because
that's it. You got 36-year-old grandmothers too.
Yeah.
You ain't lying. So,
right.
But she's about mid-40s, you know.
Right, right.
And 3 kids, teenage grandson, not teenage, he's about 20, grandson. The granddaughter's 16, and a smaller granddaughter that's about 7 or 8.
Wow. So I'm sure some of those granddaughters run into the boy problems, run into the street problems, education problems.
Right. And we try to attack issues that relate to the teens in a way where it's realistic, but at the same time, it's not sugar-coated.
Right.
Because if you sugarcoat it too much, it's like an after-school special.
Yes, exactly.
Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, they don't sugarcoat their messages.
That's right.
Straight to the point.
That's
to the point where the kids rather listen to the dirty version than the clean version on the radio. So and ours is explicit in certain areas, but it's realistic where a 16-year-old could watch it.
Yes.
And explicit not in language, because there's no curses throughout the whole movie.
Wow.
But it's still some scenes that need to be seen for teenagers that's real.
Yes.
So, you know, it's not like Sesame Street and everybody's seen the ABCs. It's some real life stuff that happens in the movie.
Yes, yeah, I work with teens too and young people, and they tell you straight anything that's on their mind.
Exactly.
You know, so you can't, you know, sugarcoat anything with them, because you're gonna be over their head, and they're gonna turn off actually. You know, because they already know what's really going on.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
So then now you're trying to tell them in some vague way, in some, you know, excuse me, Jesse Jackson this way.
Right.
No disrespect, but you know, that's over their heads.
Right.
You know, it gotta come from a rap type of perspective, hip hop.
Right.
You know, if we ain't coming with hip hop, they're not gonna understand it nowadays. Most of them. Yeah. And what is your role in all of this, Brother Cisco?
Well, for this particular project, I first started off as a music supervisor or executive producer to the music portion of the film. Hall was impressed with some of my abilities and my experience prior. So then I was bumped up to executive producer of the film, a role I enjoy. And now I've taken on a more day-to-day role as a managing partner or a co-president for the company Dynamite Films as a whole. My past, I guess Hall was, he's done videos for us in the past. He has over 40 music videos in his repertoire in 2 short films. And I guess, my affiliation with management and consulting, marketing, and the artists that I manage, I guess he felt comfortable enough to, pass the mantle on, so to speak, and to help him out with some of this stuff. So I'm more behind the scenes with the business, the marketing, the promotion, the management. Just trying to create a really, really strong brand. Right. That's my strongest point.
Okay. So, I mean, I know you may not want to reveal a lot of strategies, but is there any kind of marketing that you can reveal at this point that you're planning on doing?
I will give away a few secrets, and one of them is that instead of trying to find what works just for one person, my strategy is a culmination of several strategies. I use what Obama did to get to the White House, which was strictly grassroots campaign. I use the internet. I use some of the sort of out of the trunk, selling your CDs sort of out of the trunk philosophy, and just to build a really, really strong network of resources and powerful people that that shares or similar interest in what I'm doing.
Right, and that's where it really is now, because the industry isn't like it used to be, and especially when you're coming from an independent standpoint, we have to use all our resources, and people that are out there trying to do this, you have to understand that yes, the grassroots is where it's at. You got to start at the bottom. You can't start at the top. So you got to be able to utilize your churches, where you can, and utilize your schools, and utilize the streets and the bodega, and put flyers everywhere, and get the family involved, and get the children to run it into the schools, your nieces and nephews, everybody has to be involved, and then when you have some people that's in the industry, they could also help you on that level. But we got to make sure that we don't just have this dream and we thinking like, oh, well, Tyler Perry did it like this, so I'm going to do it like that, and it's just going to happen that way. You always got to use your own strategies and leave no stone unturned,
Absolutely. I'm sorry, just to kind of piggyback on what you just said, that's exactly right. For the last year and a half, I was told by some industry people that are, solidified, I won't put their name out there.
Right.
But what I've done with my independent record label, it typically takes a larger label 7 to 10 years to do.
Yes.
And we did that in 1 year.
Wow.
And a lot of that is, when you think of a record label, for the most part, Atlantic Records or Jive, whatever, they have thousands of employees, their marketing department, promotions. I do it all myself. So you're talking 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, 3-4 hours of sleep, lots of coffee,
yes,
and just managing the artist aspect,
wow,
18 different recording artists. You're dealing with them, you're developing them, you're marketing, you're promoting, your budget, your finance, everything from top to bottom. So I guess that is, I guess the biggest part that brought, I guess Jamal Hall and myself together.
I have a little friend named Wait a Minute, and he said, wait a minute, now wait a minute. 18 artists.
I presented Atlantic Records. We submitted a demo submission package to Atlantic Records in July, the first week of July of 2010. They called us within 6 days of receiving that package. Trey Songz went on to, take off. Shout outs to him. And the same, they went and signed Wiz Khalifa. So that took up, in my opinion, 80% of their operating budget. So that wasn't a good situation for us anyway. Another company called Primary Wave Publishing, shout out to the individual who opened the door for us for that particular opportunity. That was a $300,000 potential deal. Wasn't really satisfied with that, wasn't really comfortable, because, publishing is where the bread and butter,
right?
That's where it is in this day and age. 18 different artists is what I presented to them, from Kid Astro in Canada, he was 16 at the time, down to the About That Dough music group in Savannah, or B-May in Texas, or the artists that I had right here on the East Coast. 18 different artists, spread out for about 6 to 7 different states around the country, dealing with their parents, the marketing, the artist development, the biggest part. And then I went on to, I trimmed the label down a little bit, Jamal had done a music video for one of the artists that I had at the time, one of the first, Mike Angelo. I was impressed with the work that he had given us. We had released another music video with a different director. Jamal was booked at the time. Then we went on to do Kid Astro's video, and just the management of that project, you know, we had people reflective of 10 different cities, and he came down from Canada, and we're all central in New Jersey, and we shot this video over the course of 3 days. A bunch of other things went on, and we really turned out a very, very good product.
But wait a minute, is asking me is, don't you have crazy artists that are desperate to get out there and they don't understand what you're trying to do? They want to be signed to a major yesterday, so you're out here busting your behind, and you know, they don't even see it, and you're putting money and resources out, and they're like, well, I just saw Nicki Minaj and I want to be out there too. How come I'm not at the Billboard Awards? And when about we're going to do another video? And how come this and how come that? And you got 18. I used to have 1 or 2, and they used to drive me crazy.
I really appreciate that, because unfortunately we live in a generation where, Generation Y I think we're in right now, really don't appreciate much. They're a generation that's predicated upon entitlement, what me.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought that out, because, you know, I hate to say, but my life savings, largely in part last year, upwards of $50,000 to $60,000 was spent, and I don't even have those artists anymore.
I understand.
They, you know, we don't compete with other up-and-coming artists. You know, we compete with the majors.
Right.
If you want to be at the top, you strive for that. And when I have other industry executives who've been in the business for 20 plus years, you know, saying that this guy is pretty smart. How many people, how big is his staff? And when they find out it's just me, you know, they're pretty impressed. Unfortunately, we're just not in a position where I feel we're going to be compensated properly or adequately for what it is that I feel we're worth.
Right.
$300,000 to me, you know, I can clean, I can probably clean my toilet with it. It's just not, it's not a lot of money. They'll make that back their first week. It's not a lot of money, and they have to protect the artists and their families as well.
That's correct. And I know artists that would want to take that $300,000, even though they wouldn't get the whole thing probably. But, you know, any amount of money over $50,000, a lot of artists right now would want to take it.
Well, you know, the typical artist, and I want to get back to Jamal for a second. I'm sorry, in a second, but the average artist, a signing bonus is typically $25,000. I'm not interested in that. That's changed to me. $25,000 immediately upon signing, you owe them upwards of, you know, $500,000 or more. So $25,000 is a drop in the bucket. On top of that, $300,000 wasn't really appealing to me because, you know, Atlantic Records, you know, I don't want to bring any harm to your entity here, but
we're fine.
Atlantic Records really, you know, they really got on my bad side, and I started to take shots at it, and they noticed. You know, Atlantic Records is a child to me. I rather deal with the parent, which is Warner, and you know, the Universals and stuff like that. So I mean, until a more lucrative situation comes along for us, we're just completely not interested.
Right. Okay, now I want to get back to Jamal too, but I just want you to break something down for the youth out there and artists that's trying to get on real quick, because there's something important you said, and that is how the artist will end up owing money, you know, after getting that deal. How does that work?
It's very simple. You would receive a $25,000 signing bonus, and immediately upon signing, there's a percentage of your publishing that, you know, will be negotiated into your deal. If they come looking for you, you're in a better position to negotiate your publishing. The typical model used by all record labels now is called a 360 deal. I think, I'm sorry, Lupe Fiasco has some information on YouTube about that. But typically, the way it used to be was you would make your money on, the record company would make their money based on CD sales. That isn't the case anymore. No one buys CDs. Everything is digital media. So now the 360 model reflects that anything you do, they get a cut of it. So publishing is when your video plays on air or on the radio, you know, that is your publishing, and they're gonna go after 50 to 80% or more of your publishing. It's very important that you retain as much publishing as possible. Most artists don't know that when you walk into a deal, you know, there is a management company that you're responsible for. You must have a management company, unless you're gonna have your mother or father do it. They're not gonna go for that. That's typically between 15 to 20% of your royalties, and then you have publishing, which is the masters. Publishing is the new masters. Masters, back in the day had some, some meat.
Right.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Publishing. That's how tapes get leaked all the time. And then with respect to the record label itself, what type of deal you enter into, because they're going to be coming after your publishing through, or they want residuals through anything that you do. So these guys need to know that when you sign at $25,000, the record label is going to do everything they can to put you out there, because they want to talk about who they just signed, right? And then now you're expected to live a certain way. You're expected to move out of your neighborhood, and you have to maintain that lifestyle. So they'll put you in a house if you're really, but they're gonna hold the mortgage on it or the keys to it, and they're gonna give you all the jewelry and all the decorations. But at the end of the day, if you don't go at least gold, you're gonna owe them upwards of, because a platinum album would, generate anywhere from $25 to $30 million. You're not gonna see, a portion of 1 million. You won't even see that. So most artists these days, they get into it. You need to know to control your own publishing. That's the most important thing, to own your own publishing.
And that would be through ASCAP or BMI. So look up ASCAP and BMI. Okay,
well,
thank you.
Well, ASCAP and BMI, ASCAP, BMI, and SASAC are the three largest in the United States. In Canada, it's called SOCAN. ASCAP and BMI and SASAC are what are considered as performing rights organization. Okay. They are the ones that are responsible for paying you when your video circulates on VH1 or if it's on the radio. But ASCAP doesn't, they go based on what you negotiated with these entities. So if the record label says you owe this and you owe that, before they even give it to ASCAP, they're gonna take their portion. Typically, it's a 75 to 25 split. Out of that 25, you're paying everything. Everything.
Wow. See, I was looking at it from an independent perspective. I'm on ASCAP.
I'm also affiliated.
Yeah, I'm straight independent.
That's right.
The checks come to me.
That's right. That's right.
Same with iTunes. CD Baby, I do iTunes, Rhapsody, Amazon MP3. It comes to me.
That's right.
So I would feel like you, if somebody wants to give me a deal, I have to really think about it. Because say, wait a minute, now what's going to happen with that check that I was getting? And especially y'all going to pump it up real big. So now what's going to happen? But I don't want to take too much from the movie.
Go ahead, man. Teaching.
But how does that work with the movie? In terms of
the same process almost. Where there's two ways: independent or a big company. Independent, really, you don't get into the big movie theaters because you got to pay the movie theaters a certain amount of money to get put into the movie theaters, which is usually covered by the bigger companies. So independent route, you become more profitable if you go to DVD, Netflix, where people download your movie, you can watch it on there. Or the route that we're taking is kind of the film festival route, where you go to the film festival circuit for about a year or so, and it might get picked up like Precious into the movie theater. But then now you got to work up the numbers again with the publishing, who owns this, who owns the name of the movie. Now, if you agree to say, all right, let's go to a bigger company, they might say, well, we want Denzel Washington to be this character. We got to pay him now. Who's going to take it out what budget? And then at the same time, you lose kind of more control with the bigger companies and where you want to take your film or the direction you were going in. And then you got to, at the end, when it's all said and done, show them the movie, they might say, oh, it's too long, take out 15, 20 minutes of it. How do you do that? And still make it still effective? You got to chop it down. Or like there was a movie called Watchmen. They said it was entirely too long. It was 3 hours long. They had to cut it down to 2.5 hours, a half hour worth of material. How do you do that and still have a good movie?
That could be some material. Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then you have to almost like rent out the theaters to get it sent out there. So it becomes a way where you got to decide the independent route or trying to, because another route is what I know a lot of people are doing now, and some of my close friends are doing. They write the script, they shoot a trailer for it, but then there's a website where you show the trailer, and if you want to donate money to it, donate money to it. And once you get a certain amount of money that's donated to it, they can begin filming. But I'm talking about like $40,000 or $50,000 they need to start filming it. And I know one trailer, one of my friends has, it cost him $20,000. That's just a 4 or 5 minute trailer. And they're still asking for money to come in. So, there's different ways, the same as music.
And when I was doing my film, I have a film called Up in the Attic.
Okay.
And when I was doing that, I was told that if you hit the film festivals, that's like one way that, the one stream that you're on, but then you turn around and you put it out there in theaters independently, then some of the people from the festivals are going to frown upon that.
Yep.
Because they're going to say, wait a minute, you are already out there making money and promoting it, so now it's owed to us, and like, what we going to do with it, you
Right.
know, that type of thing. You know, so it's like a lot of, you got to really know what you're doing.
Right, because when we go on the route with the film festival, a lot of people are asking us in the movie, the cast members or family members, well, I can't make it out to the premiere, can we buy it on DVD? But we can't even think about DVD until like a year from now, because like you said, the film festivals don't want it in circulation, period.
Right.
And I ask you in the application, where has it been seen, where has it been viewed at? So they gotta be real careful with the premieres and how many you do, and call it, you know, the screenings, and make sure that you're not out there trying to put it out like you just said, where people go out and watch it independently, like 5 or 6 dates. But
if I can add on to that, you know, again, myself and Hall together, dynamic team, which is what you guys are saying is it's so relevant. We're not going to go and ruin you know, an opportunity to submit to the film festivals, but we're not going to sell ourselves short either, which is why Melba Moore and Rasheen Peppers and Eslee Tate and some other celebrities are coming to the premiere, why we made such a big deal. We want to show that with or without your help, Hollywood, we're coming.
That's a beautiful thing.
We're going to follow rules, but we're going to show you that, you know, what you big guys do, we do it too, on a smaller level. And that's just one thing about us, that we like to break standards.
Right, because with that, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was just to make a 5-minute trailer, hoping, just waiting for somebody to donate money. Because for me as an artist, I'll be killing myself. So what I did was, it took about 1.5 years to make this movie because of scheduling and equipment. I just bought a little bit at a time. So eventually I had enough to where it became professional enough to actually make. And once I got to that point, we did a casting call. We sent out email blasts and Facebook flyers, and we had a nice turnout. And we had people try out for the different scripts. Parts, some were good, some were just, you know, like American Idol. They tried, but it's just not for you. And from there we took it, and the hardest part was the scheduling, because a lot of people work. Independent films, we tell them up front, well, we can't compensate you for you know, this amount of money, whatever, but you are getting recognized, and resume, you can have it in your film reel to show what you do. And a lot of people had no problem with that. And we took it from there, and we had like the main lead character, Della Fisher. She plays Mimi. That's the grandmother. And she took that role and just took it to another whole level. And she had done plays before, worked with different people, played a Tyler Perry play she was in. So, you know, and they also had Bernard Sherman, who was in the last 50 Cent movie. And he played his main character, and he tried it out. But I actually seen his character from the 50 Cent movie, so when I got a chance to see him, I asked him about, you know, UMI, where he played in UMI. He had no problem doing that.
That's good.
And also Hadeja, I used her before. Hadeja Sherman, I used her before in a short film I did. So, you know, you kind of like Spike Lee, you want to keep a family of actors around you.
Definitely.
But at the same time, still had the casting calls where everybody still had to work and earn their position. So,
and it's kind of similar to what we were saying about the artists. You know, some of the artists are a little crazy and stuff. So when you find good talent, you want to keep them around. You know, that family thing is good.
It is. So one thing we encountered, and for me it's new because I don't know if it's the full-length film and this whole premiere thing, but I did 2 short films, and the actors and everything was cool. But now we're doing this. Some people are getting Hollywood on us. They're changing on us quick.
We had that on our set. I understand. A whole lot of behind-the-scenes things, and egos, and jealousy, and hate.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like a movie behind the movie.
Right. And to me, Cisco handles it way better than I do. Because he gets right down to the bone, like, look, this is what it is, A, B, and C. I'm trying to be, you know, the nice guy, and like, well, you know, Cisco's like, nah, Hall, give me your phone, I'll take care of that. Because, you know, certain people feel that they feel entitled to do certain things, but, you know, in the end, it's good, it benefits everybody. And too bad that everybody doesn't see it that way.
And that scheduling is hard.
I mean, oh man, bro.
I had people had to work,
Yeah.
people had to go to school,
And then some people don't
somebody's
take it
locked
right.
up, and I gotta go get them.
Crazy. And then some people we waiting an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, when people don't show.
Right. And then it's like, you know, how strict can you be because you're not really paying them.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, it's important for everybody to put their time up. Like we had one scene with a church scene, and we had, you know, opportunity to use the church only for a short time period. And so it ended up taking a little bit longer than we thought. We was waiting for the extras to get there. And you know, the extras are not getting paid and they don't see it. They say, oh, you're doing a movie, boom, and it's coming in, coming through. They don't see it as how much time we put into it. But we got the scene done, but it was under the gun.
Right, right.
So,
Can I tell you a quick little story?
Sure.
Man, we had a club scene, right? But it was really like a lodge, you know, like a Masonic lodge or something like that. And we had all these people come on time, and then there was a scheduling conflict. We didn't know a funeral, like, I don't know, the thing after the funeral, the wake or whatever. This family comes down to the basement, and then they're like, what y'all doing here? We're here. And we're like, but we got people on motorcycles, everything, you know, like, and then we're like, it was a conflict. We said, we got to let them go. So we let them do their thing. Our people went out, and let's say we had 150 people. Wow. So everybody couldn't come back. Right. So our party scene went from 150 to like 50. Yep. You see, you know, anything could happen. Right. It's rough.
Right. It is. So many unforeseen problems and challenges, they just come. And, you know, either you're in it or you're not in it. And for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, it hasn't been all, you know, rosy.
I mean, even after the fact, when the movie was done, just getting the movie theater and change of this and that, and it was just, we hit a hard wall. We thought it was about to be a wrap, but you know, we kept striving, and thankful enough, the people with powers that be opened their hands up, and we worked it out and mashed it out. But you know, I could call it a beautiful struggle. You know, in the end, you're gonna make sure it's worth it and it feels good.
Yes,
you know,
never give up.
It wasn't given to us, so now we earned it.
Yeah, I was going to give up. My heart was done. Boom.
It's
you know,
tough.
Erica Williams, who introduced us, she was like, Kamal, I know this ain't you. You don't give up. Come on. And I was like, all right. You know, my wife, you know, but I needed that. And usually I thought I was strong and confident.
You do.
You know, but we only have a couple minutes. Okay. So we want to make sure we let the people know everything they're supposed to know. Like, why should people come out and see this film?
Well, I'll put it this way. It's not the typical urban shoot 'em up, grab a chicken, pimping holes on the, I can say that?
Yeah.
Pimping holes is a message to it. Artistically shot, you know, photography is tremendous in it. And it's a good story that everybody should go out to see, black, white, whatever, because it's about grandmothers being mothers again. And that's what we need, a positive message, because think about the last strong movie that came out that wasn't funny or somebody telling jokes the whole time. So we need something like this in the urban and suburban areas.
Right, right.
So please come out and support UMI, June 2nd.
June 2nd. And what's the name of the theater again?
The Fabian 8 Movie
8.
Theater at the Center City Mall.
That's right, downtown Patterson.
Downtown, brand new mall, brand new theater, digital screen, nice high definition, ready to go. Can
they Google the movie?
Sure. The site to go to is www.youtube.com/UMI, UMI The Movie.
Okay,
so it's UMI The Movie. Okay. That's the Facebook, that's the YouTube page, Facebook, www.facebook.com/ same thing, UMI The Movie. UMI The Movie.com.
So all our Facebook people, man, y'all know what to do.
We even got a music video for it.
What?
Yeah, we got a trailer, a music video.
I'm checking that out tonight.
Behind the scenes, the casting calls is all on the YouTube page.
All right. Yeah, I'm checking that out tonight.
As a matter of fact, one of the main songs came from an artist in Texas, one of my artists. His name is B-May. He's actually flying in on Thursday, and we're going to shoot a video for that particular movie as well. And it's a lead single. It's a very, very, very good single. He's been compared to Michael Jackson. I mean, he is that good. And he'll be here on Thursday from Texas.
Okay. We got to stay in touch. I want to know more about all of the things that you're doing, man. This is serious.
Well, hopefully we invite you out, so hopefully you come down, check us out, and, you know,
All right, so
Do what
we're
you
gonna definitely we're gonna do our best to make it.
Right.
You know, and if I can, I'm gonna send my representative Kevin Barksdale, but I'm gonna try my best to make it.
Okay.
Because this is exciting and it's something good for the community.
Right.
And I'm glad it's happening. We're gonna say good night, thank you, and check this out. My name is Kamal Imani. Good night. One love. Peace. Bless the mic.